At a time when my children were growing up, this is say about 40 years ago, in Chennai, we had very few restaurants. There was nowhere you could really go to. There was one place called Shanti Vihar which served wonderful tiffin. We used to go to Mylapore for that. And then the only other cuisine that was there visibly was Chinese food. So if we wanted to eat out, it was just Chinese food or it was tiffin somewhere in Mylapore, in one of those reputed restaurants. But very slowly what happened is different kinds of cuisine started coming up, and one which made its mark here was Chettinad food. The first restaurant to start was a Chettiar restaurant. It was in 1953. Metroplus carries that, called Ponnusamy. It was literally a kind of hole-in-the-wall restaurant, but the food was delicious. It was very nice. And see, then it took off. Then Karekudi opened, then another one opened, then another one opened.
When we set out to discover the Tamil cuisine, our journey began in Chennai. And while we had done our research, we had no idea what was in store for us. So join us on this fascinating food trail while we explore the taste of Tamil Nadu. Hidden away in the bustling bylanes of Triplicane was the stately serenity of Broadlands Hotel. The building greeted us with its numerous windows, charming courtyards, and panoramic views of the neighborhood mosque. It was like stepping into a time capsule. Immersed in the colonial grandeur around us, the hotel's owner, Mr. Rao, kick-started a curious journey through Chennai's culinary history.
We assume the building is about more than 80-90 years old. The building is predominantly built out of teak wood, which is imported from Burma in those days. So the wood is probably about 300-400 years old, mature wood. The building has seen everything from being a private residence to a Turkish consulate to being a guest house for the local king to presently Broadlands, which is a hotel in Chennai. Chennai is basically food which is traditionally South Indian. We are famous for the idlis and the sambars and the dosas and the vadas, or specifically now masala vadas and different kinds of vadas. But Chennai is also a mix of a lot of cuisines. The more popular one is the Burmese food joint in Paris Corner, which most people in Chennai know about.
Broadlands Hotel's Burmese connection had us thinking, and so we had to investigate. Off to the bylanes of Paris Corner we went in search of that bowl of Burmese goodness.
About how Burma has a sort of special connection with India, specifically with Chennai. There is this Atho Noodles which I'm eating at Paddy's Corner, which Mr. Rao from Broadlands Hotel recommended us. I haven't yet tried it, but it looks delicious. It comes in egg and veg variants, basically.
This connection comes from the community of the Chettiars, who own vast stretches of land in Burma and created a unique connection between the two places, and that's why Burmese street food is a big thing in Chennai now.
The Chettiars were originally spice traders with Southeast Asia and the Far East. Propelled by the commercialization unleashed by British rule, the Chettiars ventured into money lending. Lured by better prospects, large numbers of them moved to Ceylon, Burma, Malaya and Vietnam in one of the most unique outmigrations of capital from colonial India. The opening of the Suez Canal in 1869 cut shipping times to and from Europe by half. This opened the floodgates for Burmese rice exports to European markets. To add to this, the Land and Revenue Act passed by the British a decade later brought large swathes of land under rice cultivation, creating a whole new set of paddy farmers seeking credit. The Chettiars successfully emerged as the principal purveyors of this credit, in the process generating huge profits and sometimes amassing enormous wealth. At its peak, Chettiar investment in the country exceeded that of colonial Britain.
Chettiar men, they used to travel a lot. So the women were left to their own whims and fancies. So they started cooking. And their households have many servants who can carry out their bidding. So they started using the lay of the land. And whatever they got from the land, they started using in their cuisine. Then friends started coming and eating there. And then a few people were asked, why don't you start a restaurant? Because it's so wonderful. So those who were a little more enterprising, like people like Karekudi and Ponnusamy and others, they took the lead by opening restaurants. And once a few restaurants started, then the Chettinad restaurant started mushrooming. They became a household name. And everywhere you went, it was so easy to get Chettinad food in Chennai.
After a delicious lunch overloading on finely spiced meats, we picked another famous Chettinad restaurant for dinner. We headed down to the Anjappar restaurant.
We're at the famous Anjappar Chettinad restaurant. It's a chain all over India and abroad. This is one of the places that has really popularized Chettinad food and it has really taken it to the world quite literally. Anjappar restaurant actually was founded in Chennai in 1964. So they've been in business for 54 years and they have 87 branches. Like, it's no joke, and this goes to show the popularity of Chettinad food in Chennai and India and around the world. Apart from India, where they have it all over Tamil Nadu and Bangalore, Koramangala, right next to my house in fact. They have it in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, Portugal, London, USA, Canada and Australia.
The Chettinad messes in Chennai introduced us to a slew of new delicacies. The fiery fish curry, the tangy chicken dishes, and the pungent peppery masalas that Chettinad cuisine is renowned for. But were these rich aromatic delicacies always a part of the Chettiar cuisine?
It's interesting to know that till the late 18th century, the Chettiars were mostly vegetarian. They were vegetarian.
To explore the many vegetarian wonders of the Chettiar cuisine, we visited renowned chef Mrs. Meena Thenappan. While she's known for reinventing dishes from across South India, today she had welcomed us home to sample a traditional Chettiar lunch.
What I see is people use a lot of sof or a lot of anise, the starred anise, and then they call it Chettinad. They put too much masala in it. There are a few dishes which does have masala, but as I'm about to show you today, our cooking is very light on the stomach because we are from an arid region.
Right.
and it's a very simple and light cooking. The water which we use to wash this rice, it is there is a particular color to it, and they say it's very nutritious also. So we use that water to make this curry, and this is very typically Chettinad. We call this mandi. Mandi means the residue. So the water from this is used to cook this.
This concept of not wasting anything.
Yeah. It could be because they had to be frugal.
Is it because of where they lived in the arid region?
Yeah, actually speaking, because they were traders. So they used to live near Pumpuhar.
Right.
It is said that generations ago there was a huge tsunami,
Right.
and they went to a place where they will not have the fear of water.
Yeah.
So they selected and they asked for an arid land where they can do irrigation and they can farm and whatever. So they always travel to the port and they did their spice trade and other things. But they went to a place where they will have no fear of water. And if you see the buildings, even now, they are raised quite high.
Right.
Being a trading community, they've been to the Far East. So they have picked up from Singapore, they picked up from Burma, they picked up from China. Rangoon and Saigon are the other places, but I don't know what connects. But when I first read a variant of the masal vada, is a popular vada in Burma. So I think they could have picked it up from there. The glutinous rice from Malaysia, that's a kavanarsi, which is a must-have sweet for us. Like how Adapradaman is to Kerala, kavanarsi is to Chettinad.
Right.
And what else? Idiyappam, of course, they have taken. They are traders and they have done work in Sri Lanka as well. So appam and sodi is a common food for us also. In Chettinad, importance is given to the cut, to the color, and even when planning a menu, they will make sure that no two cut is the same, and each preparation has its own. I mean, you have to cut it in that particular way. Chettinad vegetarian is hardly showcased. I'm happy you took it.
Yes. No, we haven't seen enough as
Yeah.
well.
While we had set out to understand the Tamil cuisine, we realized that the Chettiars had touched everything that we saw, ate, and experienced. While Tamil Nadu may be best known for its idlis and dosas and sambars and vadas, the many travels of the Chettiars had brought so much back to these shores. An afternoon spent in the tranquil calm of Broadlands Hotel and a short chat with its affable owner, Mr. Rao, led us to the Burmese-influenced street food in the bylanes of Georgetown. A book we chanced upon in a bookstore took us to the home of Tamil food historian Sabita Radhakrisna. We ended our Chennai chapter with Mrs. Thenappan, who had opened her home to us, preparing what literally felt like history on a plate. All these experiences of the Tamil cuisine had been touched in some way by the Chettiars. The next episode sees us make our way down to the temple town of Madurai, where we encounter more of what the taste of Tamil Nadu has to offer.